Israel fights the remaining Canaanites. After the death of Joshua, the Israelites asked the Lord, "Who will be the first to go up and fight for us against the Canaanites?" The Lord answered, "Judah is to go. I have given the land into their hands." Then the men of Judah said to the Simeonites, their brothers, "Come up with us into the territory allotted to us to fight against the Canaanites. We in turn will go with you into yours." So the Simeonites went with them. So far, so good. When Judah attacked, the Lord gave the Canaanites and Perizzites into their hands, and they struck down 10,000 men at Bezek. It was there that they found Adonai Bezek and fought against him, putting to rout the Canaanites and Perizzites. Adonai Bezek fled, but they chased him and caught him and cut off his thumbs and big toes. Oof. Oof. Ouch. Thumbs and big toes. So this is where I first paused last time as well, because it brought up a lot of thoughts, and it still does. So the first thing that we have to look at is Israel, and what did they just do? I'm going to reread this little part again. After the death of Joshua, the Israelites asked the Lord, "Who will be the first to go up and fight for us against the Canaanites?" The Israelites asked the Lord. They went to the Lord first. And that is something that we need to think about in our lives, whatever the situation may be. And it could be as something that we think is simple, like asking for a pen, or something as difficult as asking for a loan, or maybe needing to take some type of action, or you name it. Bring it to the Lord first. Pray about it. Meditate on the holy word and pray about it and think about it to the Lord. And you wouldn't believe how fast the Lord can act. Even pre-answers, like even pre-answers, like you're like, and the person could be, I know the Lord's told me to give this, or the Holy Spirit, the Lord told me to give this to you, and you'll be like, you will be amazed. I've had that happen to me. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. I've shared that, and I shared that. It was in one of the Lamp Bible studies before. It was about the buffet that I was thinking about really hard and wanting, and then boom, it was really weird, very weird. I say weird because it was unexpected, and it's that reaction was like, whoa, but it was a blessing. That's what it truly was a blessing. And I thank God to this day, and still thank him to this day, that something like that happened. But think about, God works in his time, not ours. And so you never know how quickly an answer can come. You know, it could be as simple as what I was just mentioning earlier. You could be needing something, and you're going to ask, you go to God real fast, and you get that answer. You get that peace. That's what you need, that peace, that confirmation that yes. Because we as humans, the Lord has to confirm with us over and over and over again as well. My point was with the, I already went over this, is at seeking God first in all things. And so I was visiting, or was at a church recently, and the pastor, he was really good. He said that he used it was out Mount Pleasant Church or something like that. Mount Pleasant, maybe it was Mount Pleasant Baptist Church or Mount Pleasant Church, and it was he used it was their pastor, and he used something about seeking God first in all things, and he brought up, you know, he's speaking to his congregation as well as the people online watching and such, and everyone, and about marriage. That was the first thing he said. You know, you go out, you have a relationship, including physical. you you know, and it turns out to be good, and you start doing things, you start making plans, you propose, or you're proposed to, whichever side you are on. You know, he's including everybody. He said, you know, you get proposed to, and then you start planning even more. You'll start planning, and hey, now you're going to get married, and you start thinking about all these things, and where you're going to get married, and then you start thinking about who's going to marry you, and then He's like, and you go up to the pastor and say, Pastor, marry us. And he's right. Most people, and the pastor's like, like they're expected to marry that person, that couple, or whoever. And it's like, did you seek God first? And that's probably something that, in his case, especially if he's asked a couples or something before, like, it's probably even irritated people, and that's who's wrong there, the pastor or those people being irritated. According to the Bible, those people being irritated are in the wrong. And so we're to seek God first, and including in that, in our relationships. And he went on, he said, they get married, and then over time, look at him. They're like, Pastor, and he's like, how you doing? Pastor, I'm miserable. Okay, did you seek God first? And that goes with Israel too. That goes with us. So bringing past and present, talking about the past, Israel, during the time of the judges, they're going to continue to have a cycle where their things are going to go good, then they're going to go bad. They're going to ask for somebody to lead them, which God's going to allow for judges. And then things will go good again, but then they start slipping away again, and then rinse and repeat to the point where they start wanting a king. And we have to be careful what we ask for, because we could be begging, or wanting things, or even trying to make things happen and forcefully making those happen. And the Lord will be like, okay, here you go. Here you go. And what happens? It's complete. Everything's destroyed. Complete destruction. In every sense of the word. You're not satisfied. Everything's going horrible, but you got what you asked for. And so during this time, Israel was supposed to be following the law, following the commands, following the rules, and living with the Lord, because the Lord was residing with them. So they didn't need a king. But eventually they're going to beg and plead for a king. And I said this before in the previous recording that wasn't recorded, that goes to show, when it comes to humanistic, sometimes the lack of faith. We have to have something physical. We have to have somebody to be responsible for us, to take the fall, so that we can rely on them for major matters and such, and not have to worry about everything. And that was God's duty, not man. But here we go, and we'll get more into that. So after going over that, and how the preacher was even stating, they came to me now and they're like, and it's like, how you doing? And they're like, I'm miserable. So the Lord can help out in situations like that as well. But you get what you ask for. Sometimes the Lord's going to be like, okay, here you go. With reading just that portion, that Israel, the first thing that they did was go to the Lord and take into account past, the present, saying that we need to do that on all things, including into the future. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?